The Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Union pulsed with uneasy energy. 73 representatives from across the stars, insectoid queens, crystalline intellects, psionic nebula forms, and cybernetic minds, all sat in silence, attention fixed on the single screen suspended above the chamber. On that screen stood Ambassador Layla Ortiz, the official envoy of Earth, human, unyielding. For the final time, she said in a tone as calm as it was terrifying, Earth does not accept your treaties. We will not join your trade pacts, your mutual defense alliances, or your research exchanges. We want nothing more to do with your council. A ripple of static passed over the chamber. The feed cut. Silence. And then the fear began to spread. Chancellor Ebrilka, a being composed entirely of shifting mist and light, finally broke the silence. They have declined again. That makes 27 consecutive refusals. It is not just refusal, hissed General Vorog of the Threx. Dominion, his claws tapping against the polished obsidian table. It is contempt. They don't need us. Counselor Sheena, of the Mer Collective, leaned forward. We offered them a seat on the High Council, unrestricted access to the Helix Archive, and full trade rights across 5 galaxies. They turned. It all down like it was insulting. And perhaps it was, murmured Archivist Drevel, who had studied human history longer than any non-human being. They are not like us. They never were. A decade ago, when humanity first broke the light barrier and stepped into the galactic stage, the Council had assumed Earth would behave like every other new species, hungry for technology, desperate for security, and eager for legitimacy. They had welcomed the humans with smiles, open arms, and layers of manipulation, but humanity had not behaved as expected. They didn't seek trade routes. They built their own. They didn't ask for protection. They demonstrated a fleet with quantum warheads capable of rewriting space-time in a 1-parsec radius. And they didn't ask for permission. They simply said, "We're watching. Play nice." Then they left. Now, as humanity's silence turned to outright rejection, panic began to simmer under the surface. What if this is their way of declaring war? Asked a trembling ambassador from the coral-like Eshari. Not with weapons, but with isolation, strategic indifference. They don't need our resources, muttered Vorog. Their Dyson swarms fuel 12 star systems. Their A's bypassed our encryption within a cycle of contact. And they've never once asked for medical or biological assistance. They are self-contained, said Sheena slowly, and unpredictable. Outside the chamber, in orbit around, the Council's capital planet, one of Earth's dreadnoughts sat in silent vigilance, the end's retribution. No visible weapons, no open coms, just watching. The message was clear. We haven't left. We've just stopped talking. Inside the Council, debates grew desperate. Send an envoy with cultural gifts. They don't value gesture. They value action. Should we impose sanctions? You can't sanction a species that doesn't use your currency, your networks, or your trade hubs. They don't need us, said Drevel again, more softly this time. They never have. For millennia, the Galactic Union had prided itself on its civilizing mission to bring young species into the fold, to unify the stars under law and reason. But humanity was the first species to look at the galaxy ... and decline ... and now? Now. The others were noticing. The Zern Hive had severed half its trade ties, inspired by humanity's example. The Krell Enclave stopped attending council meetings. Even whispers from the Felians, ancient, once loyal allies, suggested admiration. For Earth's independence, what do they want? Shrieked the young Arkan diplomat, her bioluminescent tendrils flaring. What do the humans want? The silence that followed was deep, and it was Drevel who answered. They want us to realize that we're afraid of the wrong things. Back on Earth, deep in the underground command center of the Human Strategic Alliance, Layla Ortiz sat with a report in her hand. Council panic increasing. 34 independent species now reevaluating membership. Retribution standing by. She leaned back in her chair. They're unraveling faster than predicted, she said to the man beside her, Director Callan, head of Earth's Unified Diplomatic Intelligence. He gave a satisfied nod. They tried to absorb us, control us. We warned them, Layla. We said, don't treat us like children. And they did. Now we show them what happens when the grown-ups walk away. Out in the void, the ENS Retribution turned slightly, not to attack, not to threaten, but as if to say, we're still here, we're still watching, and we never needed your approval. Inside the council chamber, a new emotion began to take hold beneath the surface of fear. Respect. Hard. Earned, and deeply unsettling.